Welcome to the Roger Report Live. We're on the entertainment side. This is Roger. I am here with Jado, and I'm here with my main man, Shark Sims. We are here to talk about Man of Steel, which I personally think was a fantastic movie. And we are getting ready because the new Superman is coming out in a couple days. Okay. We should be able to see that Friday night on its official release of June 11th. So we're taking a look back at Man of Steel. Now, we also just took a recent look back at Superman, the one from 1978. So gonna be a little bit compare and contrast. Y'all, I think this is just an absolutely fantastic movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It was an excellent version of Superman. Henry Cavill was the right guy to follow behind Christopher Reeve because Christopher Reeve set the bar so high. He almost made it impossible for somebody to follow him up and really look good, if you ask me. But Henry Cavill was able to pull it off. I'm not saying he was better than Christopher Reeves, but I am saying he was able to hold it down just as good as Christopher Reeves. That's how I saw it. I guess Jado, what are you thinking about this one?
Man, I was entertained by this one. I thought it was a really good movie, especially after, reviewing the original Superman and, comparing it and contrasting it, like the updated graphics, of course, and the CGI and all that stuff. And I think, the dude Henry Cavill, did a great job, man. I was entertained, man. I really liked the movie.
Okay, Shark, what you got on?
I liked it. I definitely liked it. It was cool. It was entertaining. Like Jado said, like looking at the graphics, how far the graphics and CGI has come was amazing. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that I don't know about y'all, but it seemed like it was part two mixed with a little something else. You know what I mean? Another like part two plot, and then a whole nother other plot when they was talking about the terraforming the planet and stuff. So that was cool seeing that device they brought out. Yeah, so I said, yeah, I definitely it was cool. I could give it like a 4.
Ooh, Shark, you ain't you you tough, brother. You one tough dude, man. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I
So
know I could see that.
you were tough, but I do get your point about because you're referring to I guess that was 1980 they put out Superman 2. So
Yeah.
I do see your point on that because he did have to deal with the other Kryptonians and but my thing is, yes, the technology made it just a whole lot more fantastic. Now, the 1978 flying was good. You know, this one just took it to so many other levels. The first flight to me was a very iconic flight in this particular movie. His first flight was just iconic. Now,
Wait, but let me ask you a question. Is he really flying or is he jumping?
Well, he was jumping and then figured out he could fly. That's how I interpret it. He jumped the first few times and then figured out that he could just fly.
But it was confusing a little bit to me when he was like back up a little bit and he kind of like jumped. You know what I mean? But I could see what he had to take off. So yeah.
Oh, you say when he told Lois to back up? Yeah, I mean at that point he was just, well, I'm finna go so fast. You don't want to necessarily get caught up in it. Caught up in that. I just think he did that to protect it from wind or whatever because he's immediately about to break the sound barrier. And I guess if you standing right next to that, that's probably it's probably gonna do a little something to you, you know, because this is a man going. If my memory's correct, I think the sound barrier like 700 miles an hour. So this is a full size man about to go 700 miles an hour. You probably want to step back, you know. But I thought that, you know, to me, what made this particular film so great was a little bit more of an explanation on Krypton. You know, you kind of seeing how they was living their lives. They did this whole thing about not having natural children. people getting assigned at birth about what you're gonna do. This is what you was born for. I thought that was some pretty good elements because in the first Superman, you know, yeah, we know it's Krypton, but we don't know a whole lot about it. And the fact that they were just so much more in depth about Krypton in this particular film, I enjoyed that very much. But y'all, I am biased because Superman has always been my favorite superhero at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? This was the one that I was totally into Superman when I was a little kid. So, you know, I'm heavily biased toward him.
So the people of Krypton, none of them was really natural births. They were saying basically, right? Except for Superman, he was the only one that literally came out of a female.
Yeah, I guess it was.
In this particular film, yeah.
Yeah, because they said it's been centuries since the last natural birth. So I'm assuming, yeah, everyone that was alive at that time probably was in those pods or whatever.
Yeah, they was growing babies, man. They was growing babies.
What is it? The Genesis, whatever, Genesis
chamber. Yeah, Genesis chamber. Yeah. Which you know, there are people who say, you know, we want one day may have like artificial wombs or something. So I guess the Genesis chamber was just a bunch of artificial wombs, you know, and their technology is so much more advanced than ours at the end of the day. You know, we wouldn't be able to understand it anyway because they had the ability to travel, you know, to different worlds and things like that. They've already been to Earth, which the film showed the old scout ship the Superman found in the mountains. So they already been to Earth and everything. So their technology is so much more advanced than ours. We ain't touching it no way. So I guess if you that far ahead, maybe you can just grow babies.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. They said that ship was underneath ice for how long?
They said the ice was like 20,000 years old, according to what they was reading.
So now, are they humans that just got up off the planet? Like, just got so advanced that they was able to leave the planet and start doing stuff?
Nah, I don't think that because that changes what Superman is, because the only reason he's Superman is because Earth is just a different environment where he can just move in a way that he can't move on his planet. Because, you know, back on Krypton, they extra regular. Ain't nothing special about Superman on Krypton. Or, you know, none of the people of Krypton. They just regular people. So, you know, the whole thing is that, you know, Superman gets his power because the sun is radiating and it's having an effect on him. It's just to his effects is a bunch of good effects. So
are they're just maybe that civilization, I guess, existed maybe way before, you know, humans did on Earth, because they're somewhat, I mean, they're very similar to humans, right?
Yeah, but they're thousands of years as far as technological
advancement, right?
You know, but I just take it as they just humanoids. Because I mean, in this world, because in Superman's world, there's 28 known galaxies. If you know 28 known galaxies, I think they just some extra humanoids. There's probably other humanoids out there. Because aliens don't mean everybody got to look totally different. You know?
So did they just get a head start ahead of humans, or they just superior as far as intellect?
I think they superior.
I think they started before.
Oh, okay.
If that shit been here 3,000 years, the pyramids is how many years old?
He said 20,000. The ice around it was 20,000 years old. 20, but see, my thing is, but my thing is that goes into a lot of things about science and things like that, because they try to, you know, science some of this stuff up nowadays. So now if you thinking about how did they get here, you know what I'm saying, and in the world of Superman, you know, they did use a wormhole, which is going into a black like a black hole, and then coming out at a different point in the universe, which is beyond the speed of light. And then if you're traveling at the speed of light, time works totally different from you. You know, so it's a lot of different factors when you got to look at. Because, you know, if you I was just looking at something not too long ago. If you go to the next galaxy, which I think they say was around 2 million light years away. Okay, if you could travel at the speed of light, you can go to the next galaxy, visit. Let's say there's people over there. You go to the next galaxy, you visit, then you come back. You spend only like 2 days over there. but you come back, but you're traveling at the speed of light. So for you, it's like, 3-4 days experience. Travel there. Well, no, if you travel there at the speed of light and it take 2 years, so you got 2 years to get there, 2 years to get back. So you 4 years older, or 4 years that went past you. But now when you look at everybody who's still on Earth, because you're traveling at the speed of light, 4 million years doesn't pass. It's a totally different world at that point. So Superman deals with all that type of stuff because Superman did come through a wormhole. And I know that because it's always been a story about how his cousin, eventually he met his cousin on Earth. But at this point, he was older than his cousin, even though his cousin was a teenager when they took off from Krypton. He didn't know about his cousin taking off, But his cousin was like a cousin.
Yeah.
Superman has a cousin. Supergirl is his cousin who was like a 17-year-old when he was a baby. But then he came to Earth through a wormhole, and his wormhole got him here quicker than the cousin wormhole got her here. So now he's a full adult when she finally gets to Earth. So, Superman deals with all that type of stuff. So they science that stuff up a little bit here and there, So I just think, the Kryptonians was just been around before Earthlings was, if you accept these different timelines and stuff that they say. So they're just way more advanced than we are because their race has probably been around tens of thousands of years before humans were.
Yeah.
And the thing about his powers is just a natural reaction to the sun. Same way we went to a different planet. It ain't gonna be like we ain't gonna move the same way we move on Earth. Gravity's different, atmosphere is different. It would affect it'll affect our bodies. Astronauts come, when astronauts come out of space from being there too long, they got to get used to being on Earth again. A lot of stuff can happen. But I do dig this one because it did give more of a background into Superman. I think they made it easy for the audience to understand it. I did like the conflict of what was going on between Zod and Superman because they made that clear. Zod just pissed off at Jor-El, and not only am I gonna get you, I'm gonna get your heirs. So Zod is somebody who don't play, if you ask me.
I wanted to ask about Zod, man. Maybe I got a twisted mind a little bit. Was General Zod really a bad dude?
Nah,
I know I know. Okay, I know in the movie he was the the antagonist or whatever, but like he stood on business, man. He was about his people, right? By any means necessary. That's kind of. But again, I see. Of course, at the expense of the humans on Earth, he was gonna, take it over and they was gonna die. But he stood on business, though. I have to give him that, man.
Well, I say
Superman
this:
Superman sold the people out.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but I get why you saying that.
That's why.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm twisted, man. I wanted to make sure,
No, I think Zod is a hero if you're looking at it from a Kryptonian view. He's a terror if you look at it from a human view, because he was about saving his people. So I can't say you're bad for saving your own people. That's a far leap to say you're a bad person because you want to save your own people at the end of the day. That I don't see nothing wrong with you trying to save your own people. Now, the fact that he didn't care anything about humans, that just made it tough on the human side. So if you look at it from a Kryptonian view, I don't see how he's not a hero. Now he was a little slow to move on Krypton because they waited till Krypton was about to fall apart to do something, because he did take over because the council was moving too slow and all that type of stuff. So he was trying to do the right thing. As he said, he was created to take care of his people, protect his people. And that's what he was trying to do. He didn't go about it the best way, but he was on that the whole film. So he definitely take his duty seriously. So I can't call the man a bad guy.
But the whole conflict between him and Superman and Earth could have been avoided because they already had the Planet Maker. why they just couldn't go to Mars and fix that up and terraform Mars.
That's too much thinking. That's too much thinking. Earth already got good resources and everything. I'm saying I mean, even if you Kryptonian, Earth got everything you need. Why go somewhere else?
Yeah, but it looked like they was ruining Earth with that machine, though, with them two machines.
Yeah, they was gonna change up the atmosphere a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Make it a little bit better for them. But Earth still generally had what you need. Now, this is my thing. You know, but I do accept it because Zod is not, or none of the folks that was with him, they're not like the great scientific minds or anything like that. And then, you know, people want this instant gratification. At the end of the day, I would have just accepted Earth the way it is. Why? Because once I started to discover we're very powerful here, I don't really need the environment to change. Yes, I will have to get used to, you know, that adjustment period of learning to be on Earth. And you know, you got to focus all your abilities and things like that. You got to go through that adaptation period.
Yeah.
But I ain't changing nothing. I'm almost a god, right? On this planet, man. I'm good. We ain't changing nothing. I wouldn't have terraformed anything. No.
I said he didn't want to go through that suffering period. You know, I don't know. Yeah, but he said that specifically. Like, you expect me to go there and suffer like Kal did or Superman did?
Yeah.
He wanted to get straight to it.
Yeah. And I mean, they did have that one scientific man because the guy who found the Codex, and he found out, it's in Kal-El's blood. The thing is, he had a lack of information. Because I know people say, well, why didn't he just understand what I just said about them getting powers and all that? See, they don't have the information, no background information about how long that's going to take, what the adjustment period is going to be, how painful it's going to be, you know. But when they got their helmets knocked off, they know that hurt. You know, because in this Superman, Superman hears the whole world. Because, you know, there's different versions of Superman and things like that, and some abilities get added here and there. So now Superman is at the point where he hears everything on Earth. So he has to focus his hearing. So, you know, for everybody else, if you just get your helmet knocked off, now you hear the whole planet. And you don't know how to focus it. And I would assume hearing the whole planet has to hurt like a mother. Yeah. You know. But I thought it was a great explanation for Superman because how does he get to the places that need his help all of a sudden? Well, to me, they gave a great explanation that he hears the whole world. You know, so you learn to focus. You hear certain key noises, whatever. Okay, that's something really bad happening. Let me go over there real quick. You know, so I like the way they did it. I even like the way they explained him as a child, and why he became the good guy that he became. I'm not saying other movies didn't do it. They did a pretty good job of the first movie to say, well, his parents were great influences. But I did actually like the fact that in this version, he was being taught, you know, whichever direction you go, it's going to have some heavy, heavy consequences. So you need to really think about what kind of man you want to be. Because there ain't no going back once it's out.
Yeah. And in this one, Lois Lane didn't really sell him out like she sold him out in the 1978 joint.
Y'all pick interesting words to use at certain point. Well, I will say, yeah, this Lois was definitely a little different, you know, and I can understand why you'd be a little different because, you know, you are having a question answered of, are we alone or are we not? So I get you take that as a big deal. And who don't want to be friends with the alien that don't seem to be harmful? So I take that from a human standpoint. Who don't want to be that guy's friend? Now that you see he's not harmful.
No. And it was a cool cast also. I noticed there was only one black person in the whole movie, which was Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, they made the chief black because usually he's not.
The general was he mixed or black? I think he was black too.
No, he was black. He definitely was black. Yeah, so there was two people in the movie. You're right.
Yeah. Not many, but yeah.
Yeah. I actually really, really appreciate the job of the general, which I know there's stuff that y'all don't know about what's going on because they had this whole world that they was developing at DC that's finna get scrapped come Friday. But that was actually Martian Manhunter. So,
the general was supposed to be Martian Manhunter.
No, he is as this particular universe continued. It was revealed that he was Martian Manhunter, which explains some of the stuff that he was doing. You know why he was making his subtle moves that were going on. That now this they're a lot more clear because when they had him locked up and Superman jumped up to say let's put our cards on the table, everybody jumped back except him. Well, now it makes sense that he didn't jump back. It was a Martian Manhunter. He wasn't just a regular human because all the regular humans was like, this could be something here, And I do like the fact that Superman had to earn the humans' trust. I do appreciate that, and I like it because it was, to me, this was a very realistic view. If Superman were real and he did come out, this is how humans would respond.
Yeah,
I did like that, And other adaptations, they didn't really have more of a hostile response to Superman. But I think even though, Zod and them showed up and they done threatened the whole planet, so of course there's going to be some hostility there. But at the end of the day, could there be an actual Superman and we don't treat him hostile?
No. I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So, other places is more of a hunky-dory thing that Superman has been discovered. And he loves us, he helps us, and all that. And I think it's like, even in the beginning, people just going around saving people. We humans. We don't trust this dude. And we ain't gonna trust this dude.
Yeah, if he didn't put that codex thing in the USB drive, they wouldn't have never knew where he was at, right?
What the ship that he found told them what planet he was on.
The 300-year-old,
the 20,000 year old ship.
Copy. All right.
That's what told them that told them where he was located, and that's why they came to Earth. They found out the codex, where the codex was in his bloodstream when they put him on the ship. He was weakening because he was his body was adjusting to Kryptonian atmosphere, so he was going back toward being a regular person. And when they drew his blood, that's how they figured out the codex. The codex was in his bloodstream.
You said the codex.
The codex, yeah, I meant the codex.
So Zod didn't even know about the 20,000-year-old ship then.
Not till that signal came.
Wow.
We just know they got a signal, and it happened to be on Earth.
Yeah,
but I do actually like that because it made sense of why you could find him. Because how do you find him when he got sent off in space and nobody told Zod where he was going? How do you find him?
Yeah, because they were searching all their colonies, right? Their former colonies, and they were seeing dead corpses and stuff. But they would pick up the old machinery and the old weapons and stuff from their old colonies, and they were just bouncing around. And then, when he got in the ship, they saw the signal. And it's like, all right, here we go. Let's go to Earth.
Yeah. Now this one was a good joint. I could give it a 4.5. Now that y'all helped me get a little bit of understanding about joints, I could give it a 4.5.
Okay. Well, for me, if I got to rate it, it's 5 across the board. Because again, one of the best movies. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Point blank, period. It was like that the first time I seen it. I even heard when people say it's not what it is, it's not Superman they know. He's not lovable enough. He's not jolly enough. And I was like, people is crazy. This is a real world version of a Superman.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best introductions to the planet, but this is how we as humans would treat him if he actually showed up. We're not gonna treat him good. I know that. I don't see nowhere in the world that would happen. Not the people I know and love. as a group of humans, I mean, we're just not finna treat him the best because he got too much power. We don't know what he is, where he come from. We don't understand him. And we ain't just gonna accept him being here like that. And the government would get all in his business trying to find out where he is and all that, so that him destroying that satellite at the end was a very nice touch, if you ask me. when he was saying, I see what y'all trying to find out where I hang my cake, because that's definitely the U.S. government.
Yeah. So if he had all the people from Krypton, all the unborn babies from Krypton in his bloodstream, wouldn't they need to keep him alive? Because they just had like one needle worth of blood. So I'm thinking, how y'all gonna repopulate the planet with that one vial of blood?
Well, no, the guy said if they could get him, if they can get his body, he can draw it out of his body. Because I asked him directly, does Kal-El need to be alive for us to get the codex out of him? He was like, no.
Yeah.
So,
hey, so at the end, when he went to the Daily Planet or whatever, like, did he wipe any memories away at that point, or no? Or
no.
Okay.
It was placement, because I get what you were saying. Because Lois did say "Welcome to the planet," so she was throwing a double entendre because she knew who he was.
Right,
but
right.
If you think about everybody else, nobody got a good look at him when he was out there being Superman. The only people who seen him was the guys from the military. But as far as like the Daily Planet, nobody actually got a good look at him.
So he didn't wipe her memory. Okay, got you.
Yeah. Welcome to the Planet was just a double entendre that she just threw out there, which I kind of dug that. I thought that was a great little scene or whatever. But Perry and that's the black guy who was the chief. Perry never got a good look at Superman. When him and Zod started fighting, if you look at how they showed it, those people was a great distance from Superman when Lois was kissing her. So they'll know who Lois is because they know enough to recognize her. But they couldn't see dude, so they had no idea what he looked like. Yeah. Which I thought was a nice touch.
And then when he put them glasses on, he totally disguised it after that, Jado. So you never know who he is.
Couldn't tell, right?
Well, you know what? Interesting about that? The glasses thing is really about expectation. Because I just seen, I was looking at some stuff about Superman, and they said that when Christopher Reeve was filming this years ago, in like 77, 78, they said when that man put on that Superman outfit, he'll walk, where they were shooting at, people start following and all that type of stuff. It was like a big deal when they see him walk through certain spaces with that Superman suit on. But they said when he was dressed up as Clark Kent, he go to the same spots. Nobody paid him any attention.
Word?
Yeah. So I think it has a lot to do with people's expectation. And then before the first movie, before the movie came out, or right after the movie came out or something like that, it was if it came out, it hadn't been out too long. But it might have been before he came out. Henry Cavill went to New York, to Times Square, and literally put on a Superman t-shirt and was just out there standing around, and people had no clue who he was. So I think a lot of times it's about our expectation. We don't expect to see a superhero the same way you could be around a celebrity, but you don't expect the celebrity to be there. So you'll miss it.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
Nice. So the glasses theory hold up in the real world. And
nigga don't even got sunglasses on. Those are regular bifocals.
Well, I would say this, you know what I'm saying, and this is just me throwing out some life experience. I have noticed that I have went to different jobs, and some jobs I've had in the past, I wore a uniform. And like, if you come back to that job when they don't expect you to be there, because I went to a job, picked up something, I'm on vacation, but I came to pick something up because I forgot it at the job. Now I'm dressed in regular clothes. Them people had no clue who I was.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Roger. Like, especially like the lab coat with a doctor, man. Like when people see that lab coat, they expect authority and you know a lot of stuff. But you might be, a dummy. But if you got that lab coat on, yeah, it's a different expectation. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think expectation has a lot to do with it. So You know, I used to thought too it was dumb that Superman could just put on glasses and people not recognize him. But then when I started seeing how people are, I think it will work. I don't think you need much else. Pair of glasses and people just not expecting you to be there, and you good to go.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I never thought of that, especially when you said they broke it. He was walking around looking regular and nobody was following him. But then when he was walking through the set and places with the outfit on, it was like a pandemonium. So okay,
Yeah. He was dressed as Clark Kent. Nobody paid him any attention. Yeah. Yeah. And I just believe it because I have been to places where I worked for somebody, but I came back and I didn't have a uniform on. And people act like they know who it is. And I was shocked that people can't recognize me. Like, how you can't recognize me? And I'm the same person. It's just a different outfit. But hey, people do what they do. But I know that's a very real thing that I've experienced a few times in life. People don't recognize you. And I actually do something, not saying that this is a good thing, but I do actually if I do something like wrong, and I'm saying something simple like traffic or something like that, I done told folks myself because I picked it up from somebody a long time ago. Even if you're doing wrong, act like you're doing right, and ain't nobody gonna really pay attention.
yeah.
You know, just act like you was doing what you was supposed to be doing. And a lot of times people just let it go. You know, and they might question themselves, did you actually do anything? But they'll let it go, and that works. You know, but as a film, I thought this was beautifully written. Honestly, the storyline was fantastic to me.
I hope they don't mess up your expectations and your fandom with this new one.
Nah, they ain't gonna mess nothing up. I don't even expect the new one to be as good as this one.
Yeah,
I thought this one was a good. I thought this one was a better version because they seen the 1978 one. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they looked at what was presented there and they said, how can we make this better? And I can see all the different touches they put in to make it better. So I dug it wholeheartedly, you know, because it's sometimes it's hard to redo a movie, and sometimes you change too much, sometimes you change too little. I think in this particular case, it was like just the right amount of changes that you can better understand this particular world. Now, is the one that's coming out Friday gonna be as good as this to me? Probably not. I don't even expect it to be.
Wasn't there one after this one with Lex Luthor in it?
No, they made it was never a Man of Steel movie, but this man does appear in other movies. Yeah, it was just not his own movie, and I think they messed up as far as that was concerned as well, because they definitely should have made a second Man of Steel movie. They really, but you know, those are powerful people and heads of companies and things like that. But sometimes they do dumb stuff too. You know? Yeah. So they're proof that even the greatest quote unquote minds or the people and all kinds of power at their fingertips can do a bunch of dumb stuff. You know, because this whole universe fell apart because of the suits. Based on reports, I'll say based on reports and stuff that I heard, the suits messed up everything. The fans wanted certain stuff, the suits just wouldn't do it. You know, and I think it kind of displays something too, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe took off and became this great, fantastic thing. But Marvel was fighting to get their characters back and all kinds of stuff. They had all kinds of hold up. Warner Brothers owned their characters the whole way through and just didn't do it first. That's kind of a sad statement at the end of the day.
Yeah, because they got like you said, they got a lot. Like they could have did a lot with that Martian Manhunt. I didn't even realize that until you said that. I was like, okay, because he was kind of not scared. Like even when he went to fight the girl with the knife, I'm like, he brave as hell. I would have pulled. Man, listen, after I seen all that stuff she did, I'm gonna pull out a knife.
Oh no, that wasn't the Martian Manhunter. That the black guy was the Martian Manhunter. That guy just accepted he about to die. That's how I looked at that.
Oh, all right. So now I gotta watch it again because I didn't. All right. But I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the white dude.
Nah, the black dude was the Martian Manhunter. Like when he got up from that table in that scene, everybody backed up because he was telling me, "Hey, I can see through this room. I can literally see y'all. I can see the the green lifesavers that you know. I see the squad and the soldier in the back. So everybody got scared because he telling everybody way too much stuff for their comfort. And then he got up and broke them little handcuffs like they wasn't nothing.
Yeah,
And talking about let's put our cards on the table. Only that black dude stood there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else backed up. But now it makes sense because he was the Martian Manhunter. Because I was like, that's a little much to not back up from when you just hear this stuff. Because I'm thinking as a character, you don't know who Superman is. You just got him in the room, and he just told you all that stuff. That's got to be scary because it's unknown. And we as humans, we're scared of stuff that we don't understand. So when I found out he was Martian Manhunter, it made more sense to me. Cause I was like, even as a black man, like, bro, that's a little too brave. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get a little too brave.
Yeah, so it was definitely. It's something I could watch again, like on a Saturday morning. I ain't got nothing to do. I could definitely watch that again.
Well, I'm definitely gonna watch it again. I don't know when and I don't know where, but I know I'm definitely gonna do it. And it's just to me, it's just a shame I didn't get to see more of this Superman because, of course, I followed their universe. There's something we may look at in the future, the Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, but that's a 4-hour movie.
But Batman versus Superman was fire.
Yeah, and that came between what I just spoke of in this particular film, and that was a pretty decent movie there. That was a pretty decent movie. So I thought DC had a lot of good things in place to make a lot of great things happen. I just think the suits just got in the way a little bit too much. Yeah. And because they world should not have fell apart so quickly and so easy, if you ask me. Marvel set a standard, and they had been doing it for so long because their first movie came out in 2008, and Man of Steel came out in 2013. So we 5 years behind, and the world just done fell apart. And Marvel's still going.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought it was a shame. So, well, I guess that's it for me. Anything else y'all want to get out on this particular one?
No, I'm definitely gonna wait to watch the newest one coming out because I want to see what they're gonna do with that. I hope they don't run the same storyline. You know what I mean? They could have a whole new storyline, but they got the dog in it, so I guess it might be something different.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be way different. Unfortunately, I've seen too much stuff from it already because I try to avoid previews nowadays. I just want to, if the movie good is gonna be good. I just look at the posters, see how they present it, and make my decision about what I'm gonna see. But I try to avoid previews nowadays. So I hope it's gonna be something. I just don't think it's gonna be no Man of Steel, and I'm not saying that in a bad or negative way. They going in a totally different direction, so they may not even be really great comparable movies like that. But Man of Steel was just on point to me. It was just a very well crafted movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Any last thing you want to say, Jado? Before we
no, I enjoyed the movie, and I'm definitely gonna check out the new one that's coming out too, man. But yeah, I think, and I really appreciated the fight scenes, particularly with General Zod and Superman when they were kind of punching or pushing each other through the buildings and stuff. And I thought that was really fly, man. But good movie though.
Yeah, that was a real fight for Amazing. You ain't lying about that. That was a real fight. All right, y'all. Well, this has been another episode of the Rise Report Live. We done checked out Man of Steel. I wish we was gonna get more of it, but obviously we ain't. Or maybe he'll pop up as an alternate version in the new DC universe. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll see how it goes. It's been great. Y'all have a great night. This is Roger, Shark, and Jado, and we are out of here.
Peace.